Welcome back. In this video, we will discuss about symmetry as a part of basis of classification. In the previous videos, we discussed about the levels of organization and germinal layers and types of circulatory system as a part of basis of classification. Now, in this video, we will discuss about symmetry of animals. So, what is symmetry? Symmetry means balanced distribution of paired body parts. How the different parts in our body are arranged. For example, we have some organs we have paid and some organs we are unpaid. That means we have only one nose and we have two ears. So ears and eyes, those are paid organs, and for example nose is an unpaid organ. How they are distributed, that we will see. For example, in the animal kingdom, we can divide the whole animals into two groups. The animals which are exhibiting symmetry, proper organization of the body parts, that is one group, that means symmetrical animals. And the animals which are irregular in shape and the body parts are not regularly arranged and they are not balanced, those are comes under the group asymmetry. That means asymmetry means if an organism, if we cut an organism, it cannot be divided into two equal halves. If we cut an organism in any axis, in any plane, if we cut an organism, it cannot be divided into two identical or two equal halves. That organisms we kept under the group asymmetry, asymmetrical animals. For example, the lower organisms or lower phyla, that is porifera. In that we discussed about sponges. Those sponges have the shape, very irregular shape. The animal itself is an irregular shape. So how we can cut? If we cut in this axis, see there are no two identical parts. If we cut in this axis, no two identical parts. This axis or this axis, no. If we cut in any axis, we cannot get equal or identical parts. So those organisms are called as asymmetrical organisms. Okay. The example is the lower phyla, that is porifera. In porifera, we have sponges. Those exhibit asymmetrical symmetry. And even here, one exception is there. For example, the higher phyla, higher animals, higher phyla, that is mollusca. In mollusca, a special class is there, that is gastropoda. It is a class that belongs to phylum mollusca. In gastropods, we have different types of snails. Snails, you know snails? You can observe those snails in moist land, moist soils, and besides the bank of a river at least. Okay. So these snails, when they are in the larval stages, exhibits bilateral symmetry. We will discuss what is bilateral symmetry. But in adult stages, they turn into asymmetry. They turn into asymmetrical. So how it is? For example, if you take a snail, their larval stages are like this. If this is a snail, if you cut from here to here in this axis, it can divide into two equal or identical halves. This is at larval stages. This is at larval stages. But when they become adult, they turn into this shape due to a special effect. That effect is known as torsion. This is very important for the NEET exam. Due to the effect of torsion, this animal previously in larval stages it is like this, but due to torsion it is rotating like this, so that we cannot cut into two equal halves. Here some small hump is there for a snail, so we cannot cut the animal into two identical halves. So the larval stages are exhibiting bilateral symmetry, but the adult stages are exhibiting asymmetry due to a special phenomena, that is torsion. We will discuss about torsion in detail when we discuss about the phylum Mollusca. Okay, so now again there is a confusion. So here the same animal in the larval stages it is exhibiting bilateral symmetry, and in adult stages it is exhibiting asymmetry. So if I ask you a question, what is the symmetry of molluscan adult gastropods, or if I ask you a question like what is the symmetry of gastropods, you can, based upon the question how I am asking, you have to answer. You simply, I will ask what is the symmetry of gastropod. What is the symmetry of gastropod? If I ask like what is the symmetry of gastropod, you have to answer bilateral. What is the symmetry of adult gastropod? You have to answer asymmetry, asymmetrical. What is the symmetry of larval stages of gastropods? Bilateral. So overall, for example, if you are considering overall, not with respect to the adult or larval stages, if I ask what is the symmetry of a gastropod, you have to tell bilateral. That means what I am here trying to say is, we have to consider the symmetry of an organism by its larval stages, not by its adult stages. So you have to remember that whatever the symmetry is exhibited by the larval stages, that is the symmetry of that animal. That is the most important point. So this is the exception for asymmetry for adult organisms present in the gastropods. Okay, now we will discuss about symmetry. This means how the paired organs in our body are distributed and how the unpaired organs in the body are distributed, we will see in the symmetry. What is symmetry? If we cut an organism in a particular axis, it will give two identical halves. So exactly the animal will divide. If we cut an organism, it will exactly divide into two equal halves. That is symmetry. Okay, the symmetry is again two types. First one is radial symmetry, and second one is bilateral symmetry. So which organisms exhibit radial symmetry and which organisms exhibit bilateral symmetry, and what are those, we will discuss now. The radial symmetry was started from cnidarians. The radial symmetry started from cnidarians, and the bilateral symmetry is started from the higher animal phyla. Bilateral symmetry. So here we have to know different terms. What is a plane? What is an axis? Because for dissection of an organism, these two terms are very important. So we will discuss about what is a plane and what is an axis and what is a radial symmetry, how we will cut an organism. Okay, that we will see. It is also known as monoaxial heteropolar symmetry. It is also known as monoaxial heteropolar symmetry. So what is this? Because in this radial symmetry is exhibited by lower phylus like cnidarians. So the cnidarians are mostly, they are in this shape or cylindrical, like this or like this. So what is the plane of dissection and what is the axis of dissection, we will see here. And why I called monoaxial and heteropolar symmetry. Poles means two different ends. This is also two different ends. This is also two different ends. This is also two different ends. So these are all poles. Okay, and here if you compare, this is one pole, 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 like this. These are the poles, but the axis is like this, This is also an axis, this is also an axis, but here I told you that monoaxial, only one axis. If we cut in only one axis, it will give two identical halves. If you see this is one axis. If I cut the animal, it will divide into two identical halves. But if I cut like this, it will not give two identical halves. So here only one axis. I will try to explain you in more easier way. For example, if you take a guava, here I am trying to, because all the shapes of cnidarians is like this only, mostly. So if I will cut this guava in different planes, see here, I am cutting this in, this is one plane, I am cutting like this, and this is one plane. See here, I am cutting the guava, this is one plane, this is one plane, and this is one plane, and this is one plane, and this is one plane. If I cut in any plane, it will divide into two equal halves. See, but here the axis is same, this one point and this point. This is the axis. The axis is same, but I am changing the planes. One plane, second plane, third plane, and fourth plane. Like that. If the animal divided into how many planes, we can call as that symmetry. Okay. These are the planes, but the axis is same. So here we have to know the another term, that is oroaboral axis. This axis we can call as oroaboral axis. That means mouth and anus. This is oral axis and this is the aboral axis. Both are same one, oral, aboral. If we connect these two by cutting in between, this is oral aboral axis. Okay. That's why the axis is same, monoaxial, but depend upon the poles. If it is divided into two planes, if it is divided into two equal halves by two planes, we will call as biradial. biradial symmetry. Two planes. If it will cut into two different planes, it is called as biradial symmetry. If it is divided into two equal halves by 5 planes, it is called as pentaradial symmetry. Pentaradial symmetry. All are belongs to the radial symmetry. Here in these two, the axis is only one. Axis is one, but here the planes are different in number. That's why commonly we can call it as heteropolar symmetry. Okay. Now the Cnidarians mostly exhibit biradial symmetry. Biradial symmetry. Again here one important bit. Adult echinoderms like sea star. This is a type of animal, sea star. It is exhibiting pentaradial symmetry. It is exhibiting pentaradial symmetry. See here in the asymmetrical, we discussed about adult mollusca, that is adult gastropods exhibiting asymmetry. Here adult echinoderms exhibits pentaradial symmetry. But larval stages of echinoderms exhibits bilateral symmetry. So you have to observe the question in the what way they are asking. So according to that we have to answer. Okay, the larval stages of echinoderms are bilateral symmetry, but the adult stages are exhibiting pentaradial symmetry, like sea star. For example, the shape of sea star. It is in this shape. It is divided into 5 different planes. So pentaradial symmetry. This is about radial symmetry. Mostly this radial symmetry is present in Cnidarians. Here exception is echinoderms. The larval stages of echinoderms are bilateral symmetry, but the adult stages are exhibiting pentaradial symmetry. Okay, the advantage of radial symmetry is the organisms in which radial symmetry is there, they will receive signals from all directions equally. So mainly this type of symmetry is advantage for aquatic and slow moving animals. It is advantageous for slow moving animals because they have to escape from the prey, or they have to find the prey, and they have to escape from the predator. So for example, if the direction of predator, if they will sense that, they will easily escape. So radial symmetrical animals are mostly, they receive the signals from all directions equally. So it is very advantageous to them. Okay, and now we will discuss about bilateral symmetry. Here only one axis, only one axis, also called as principal axis. This axis is also known as anterior-posterior axis. And here the main important plane is median sagittal plane. So what is anterior posterior axis and what is median sagittal plane, we will see. Okay, for example, this is the human body. This is the human body. This side is known as anterior. This side is known as posterior. Anterior, posterior. And see here, this end is anterior end and leg side, that is posterior end. Okay, and this side is ventral and back side, that is dorsal. Okay, like that. Don't get confused. Okay, and now only one axis, anterior posterior axis, and plane, median sagittal plane, that it is in from the middle of the body. It is median sagittal plane, and the axis is anterior to posterior axis. So here in bilateral symmetry, what is the significance of that? This symmetry is present in highly developed organisms. For example, in human beings, which are exhibiting bilateral symmetry. For example, what is the significance of that? We have paired organs like eyes, ears, hands, legs. So all the paired organs, while we are dissecting the body from the middle, all the paired organs are located equidistant from the plane and equally distributed. This is about paired organs. For example, here we have eye and eye, and here we have ear. Here we have ear. See, the distance between the two ears is same from the plane, and eye is located at equidistance from the plane. And what about unpaired organs? Unpaired organs, unpaired organs are located exactly on the plane. Unpaired organs are located exactly on the plane. For example, here we have nose. Nose is exactly on the plane. That median sagittal plane goes like this, and if the plane is going like this, my eye is equally distant from the plane, but nose is exactly on the plane. So unpaired organs are exactly located on the plane, and the paired organs like hands, ears, and eyes, they are located equally, one organ on one side, one organ on the another side, and same distance from the plane. This is about bilateral symmetry. The paired organs are equally distributed and they are present at equidistance from the plane, and the unpaired organs are located exactly on the plane of dissection. So that plane is known as median sagittal plane, and the axis is known as anterior posterior axis. And from platyhelminthes, this symmetry is seen in all the animals up to higher animals like mammals. Okay, this symmetry, if in an animal this symmetry is there, that means the animal is highly developed. So while increasing the phylums from platyhelminthes to chordata, the symmetry is the same, but the animal, its development, like nervous system, is highly developed from platyhelminthes to chordates. Understanding? This is about symmetry. And here, this is the head region. This is the head region of an organism, higher animals like human beings. So here, in head region, highly concentration of nervous system. Getting the point or not? In bilateral animals, mostly the nervous system is highly concentrated in the head region. That process is known as cephalization. Formation of well-developed head with highly concentrated or highly developed nervous system. That process is known as cephalization. Getting? This is about symmetry. Two types, asymmetrical and symmetrical. In symmetrical, we have again two types, radial and bilateral. Radial, only one axis but different planes. So depend upon the number of planes we can call, like biradial, pentaradial. And bilateral symmetry, only one axis and one plane. It will cut the animal exactly into two identical halves. And paired organs are present or distributed one among the plane. And the unpaired organs are exactly present on the plane. And the organs which are exhibiting bilateral symmetry are highly developed with well-developed nervous system. That is known as cephalization. Okay, this is about symmetry. And other basis of classification is segmentation. Other basis is segmentation. So what is segmentation? What is segmentation? It is also a property of dividing animals. That is, mainly there are two types of segmentations. So first one is homonomous segmentation, and second one is heteronomous segmentation. Homonomous and heteronomous segmentation. This homonomous segmentation we will see in earthworms that belongs to the phylum Annelida. And heteronomous segmentation we can see in cockroaches. We can see in cockroaches that belongs to the phylum Arthropoda. Arthropoda. For example, I am drawing the earthworm here. If you will observe the earthworm, all the segments, the body is divided into segments. Mostly all the segments are equally divided. That means the volume, the length, the breadth of each and every segment is almost same. So that's why if it is same in the dimensions, it is known as homonomous segmentation. Getting? And here heteronomous, it is seen in the cockroaches. For example, in cockroach, this is head, this is thorax, and this is abdomen. See here, the body is divided into three regions, and three regions, this is one size, this is one size, and this is one size. The segments are in different size. That's why it is known as heteronomous segmentation. So based on the segmentation also, they tried to classify the animals. So this is also a one of the basis for classification. And one more thing, here we have to know the term metamerism. What is metamerism? Metamerism means, for example, if all the segments contains same type of organs, that type of segmentation is known as metamerism. Here, if all the segments have same type of organs like nervous system, that type of segmentation is known as metamerism. For example, here nervous system is there, and in the second segment is also we have nervous system. Here also the nervous system from here to here, if it is there, so it means each and every segment has the same organ. And like excretory system, if it is there in each and every segment, or almost most of the segments, so that type of segmentation we will call as metamerism. So this type of metamerism is seen in earthworms. Getting? This is about segmentation. This is also one of the basis for classification. And next, development. So development means every life, even it is a lower organism or even it is a higher organism, the life starts from single celled stage, that is zygote. Even every life is started from a single cell, that is a zygote. So due to mitosis, the several divisions takes place in the cells. From single cell it will form more cells. For example, 8 to 16 cells it will form. Eight to 16 cells, this is one cell, and 8 to 16 cells it is developed due to mitosis, cell division, mitosis. So this stage is known as morula, and again so many mitosis takes place and it will develops into more number of cells. Developed into more number of cells. So that stage is known as blastula, and again more number of cells. More number of cells. So that stage is known as gastrula, and finally so many processes takes place and gives to embryo. So these are the different stages of development. So during these developmental stages from single cell to embryo or adult, if any larval stages is involved, if any larval stages are there, that type of development is known as indirect development. For example, arthropoda we can take, silkworm. During the development of silkworm we will see caterpillar, and again it will develop into butterfly. So the adult stage is butterfly. So for the development of the adult stage, in between it is going into a larval stages. So that type of development is known as indirect development. And no larval stages during the development, that type of development is known as direct development. The higher animals like mammals, they do not undergo any larval stages during their development. So that type of development is known as direct development. So this is also one of the basis for classification. Okay, and next basis for the classification is fate of blastopore. Fate of blastopore. What is blastopore? During the development of the embryo, a small opening is developed. A small opening is developed at first. So, during the gastrula stage, if this blastula or the blastopore, if that blastopore for the first time, if it is developed into mouth, and then anus is formed, so that type of animals we can call as protostomes. Or if the blastopore is first developed into anus and slowly later on mouth will be developed, so that type of animals are known as deuterostomes. Those type of animals are known as deuterostomes. The example for protostomes are up to mollusca. From Cnidaria to mollusca. So all the up to mollusca. And from echinoderms to mammals. From echinoderms to mammals, we can call as deuterostomes. So here the blastopore is first developed into mouth, and then slowly during development anus will be formed later. So those type of organisms are known as protostomes. And if that pore is first developed into anus and then slowly mouth will be formed, so that type of animals are known as deuterostomes. So in human beings also, first the pore formed into anus and slowly the mouth will be formed. So this is about fate of blastopore. So depend upon that also, see here we will classified the animal kingdom up to mollusca, protostomes. From echinoderms to mammals, deuterostomes. So this is also helped as a basis for classification. In the next video, we will see about last but not least, the most important basis for the classification, that is coelom. What is a coelom? How many types are there? How it is formed? And in which animals, which type of coelom is there? That we will see in the next video. Thank you so much.